tell us a little bit about your background. What do you do and how do you help people?
I realized that the part that I like was to actually give, advice to people and not to have more Ferrari in your garage, but more to have an exceptional life where you have more contribution, more impact, more fun.
How did you overcome that adversity, that challenge, thinking, everything was set up and now is gone?
You tend to forget that there's different ways and that other people may not have it as easy as you do and stuff. So it sort of reconnects you with different realities.
With that being true, what's one question you've asked that's had the biggest positive impact on your life or the life of the clients that you serve? Welcome to Leading to Profit. I'm your host, Kevin Bees, and I've dedicated my career to empowering business leaders like you with the leadership skills, performance psychology they need to build thriving businesses. Are you ready for immediately actionable strategies from world-class profit leaders? Let's dive in. This is Leading to Profit. Welcome to episode number 254. I'm your host, Kevin Bees, and today we have Fabrice Beillard. Fabrice and his team will help you with proven systems built after interacting with thousands of business owners all over the world, identifying the processes, the codes to build business success consistently and putting them into systems that you can replicate. He speaks from verifiable experience and has personally sold millions of dollars of goods and services, including multi-million-dollar sales. Fabrice and his business have been featured in a range of leading media and presented at prestigious places such as Harvard. His business tagline is life, more wealth, more impact, not more revenues, more status, and more stress. So Fabrice, welcome to the call today.
Thank you very much. That sounds like a nice person you described here. I'm glad to meet him.
I am too. Now, actually, Fabrice, we go way back. I would have known you for probably 7, maybe even 8 years, might even be coming on to 9 years now. So we've had a long-term connection, and I know you do amazing things. You've helped so many clients all over the world with the amazing approach that you have. So maybe tell us a little bit about your background. What do you do and how do you help people?
Yeah, thank you. I was hearing you mentioned before this, your 254th episode, and I'm going to answer to your question, but in my mind, it provoked some thought that ties back to that. I was actually wondering how long do I know you? And I realized that, one of the keys, I think, to success in business and in general is about consistency. And I think that your podcast is quite popular now. And one of the reasons is you kept doing the things and that people like you and I are usually keeping to their word and doing, what we can to make people achieve their own success and develop their own leadership skills and so on. So yeah, it's funny how the time goes by real quick, and that when you keep, doing consistently some of the things that you value and that are important to you, they end up, building their own things. So now going to your question in regards to my background, do you want the very short, the short, or the long version?
Give us the powerful, impactful version.
Okay. As you can hear from, my very Swedish sounding name. I'm originally, from French background, but I grew up and lived in Africa and I studied in the US. So I guess, from a young age, I've always been around like lots of different, cultures and around people who are very poor and people who are ultra mega wealthy. And, it has helped me I grew up in a Muslim country, but, I was from a different background. And so this has helped me to have a first to understand that there's not only one way and that, you have to, be able to think differently and to, innovate and to, be able to understand that not everyone comes from the same place and that to keep that approach, in many different aspects, including how you market and all of that, right? So this has given me also a first for traveling. I go around the world quite a few months to the year. And I don't like winter, so I, have different places of residence in different areas, so I get to follow the sun. And my number one passion in life is surfing, so I make sure that there's plenty of that happening while I'm doing it. And that's one of the reasons why I'm super passionate as well about helping people to achieve freedom, because a lot of the things that I found, I started my career doing business turnarounds, right? So I was, in some big business units that are already making millions of dollars and they have issues and they send me there and they tell me, okay, fix it. And He was great, you know. I was feeling happy because I was the only person who didn't have gray hair in the boardroom, and I knew I was gonna have a very promising career and stuff. But I was just like, I didn't like it. There was just too much politics and bullshit, and you know, like deception and all this kind of stuff that I didn't want to be around. So I started my own business, and I already was like an imprint on me to, you know, how do we make sure that we live like a great quality of life, that we don't do things that are meaningless or that are not aligned to your values and so on. And my first business, I managed to create enough passive income in less than 1 year that I never had to work again. So that was awesome. I was in my early 30s, and I realized that, you know, you can only serve so many hours per day and that everybody else is working. And I was a bit young and I had still things to learn, and I pretty much like lost everything at that time. And I had to learn to build these businesses in a different way and learn how to be a bit more understanding and have compassion for when you start with nothing. Because I had always had before, you know, like teams of people and budgets and this and that. And I was playing in more like, you know, like high level spaces. And now I had like $150 on my credit card that I was spending to do my marketing. So it was a very different feeling. So I had to learn how to get smarter, how to teach, you know, and learn all this stuff to do, you know, be better at online marketing. It was the early days at the time, because as you can see, I'm almost 75. And so basically, and from there, one thing led to another, and I've realized that I was you know, in a partnership in some accounting venture, and I realized that the part that I liked was to actually give, you know, advice to people and to, you know, like look at the stuff, and then I realized that the numbers were just a tool to get the quality of life. And so since then, that's when we started our programs to do something, like you said, more life, more wealth, more impact. You know, I'm not teaching people to become billionaires because, one, I didn't achieve it myself. So I'm not going to pretend that, you know, I would help them to do it. Number two, I really don't care for it. And if someone wants to have a business that is working without them, is highly profitable, is supporting their quality of life and paying them, you know, great money, and some of our clients have exited, you know, with very, very, very large valuations and way more money than they need for, you know, many generations down after them. That basically is what I'm passionate about. Not to have more Ferrari in your garage, but more to have an exceptional life where you have more contribution, more impact, more fun, more experiences, and, you know, things that you're going to feel when your time comes to check out, which always comes quicker than we expect. You've done the best you could, and you've enjoyed everything that, you know, was on your desires, and you enjoy the process and not just the results. And so that's really what, you know, all those things have led me to do what I do now, and to basically help people to, you know, achieve success that is meaningful to them in a holistic ways, and to, you know, leverage the tool of their business to be able to do all of that. And yeah, so it's a bit all the usual things like what you do, you know, helping people with profits and so on. And we've collaborated, and I know you're great at that, and being a CPA and so on, to help people to get some of the nuts and bolts. But also from there, once we have like those businesses that are working really well, what do we do so it serves our personal life, so it you know, enhance our passive income, our net worth? What do we do to invest in, you know, vibrant health and like all the stuff that I study personally myself, because I'm interested in terms of investment, in terms of, you know, like health span and all the stuff to to live a great life in general.
I love it. So much power and wisdom in there. And I can hear that your time is really dedicated to helping people achieve that freedom. And like you said, you know, success that's meaningful to them, because what's successful for you is different to what's successful for him or her or me.
Yeah.
Is all very different. I kind of caught something you said there, which I think we can frame as a question, which will be very powerful. You know, when you say the end of your days, when you check out, you're really asking yourself, have you done the best you could? Have you enjoyed the process and the results? And that seems to be driving a lot of what you're helping people with, because if you can help them make a business as profitable, where they get to contribute and have impact and have the experiences that they want, well, they can be able to, at the end of the day, be able to say, yes, I did, rather than being disappointed on your deathbed that you didn't do those things. So what you're doing is so important. I know a lot of business owners struggle with these things. I've seen the business owners who have the revenue, but, you know, don't have the profit, or they have the profit, but then they've burnt their relationships or their health. Well, you're making the important point is we've got to have it is in an holistic way. I'd love to delve into one of the earlier things you said there. sometimes you have people want to come and tell us about their success stories, but I think we can often learn a lot more about the challenges. And one of the challenges you had early on, it sounds like very quickly you built yourself into a position where you had enough passive income, you didn't have to work again, but somehow that went away. Tell me, what was that like for you, and how did you overcome that adversity, that challenge, thinking everything was set up and now is gone?
I guess there's a few things, right? Because whenever things happen in your life, it happens usually for a reason, and most of the time you have created it unconsciously anyway, right? So the first part is humility. Yeah, when you are young and you're surrounded, you're in like boardrooms and you flying, to send to fix a company, and you think like you can see that you are doing things that other people are not able to achieve or whatever. You tend to forget that there's different ways and that other people may not have it as easy as you do and stuff. So it sort of reconnects you with different realities. Also, because when I was young, I've been able to navigate, gracefully between, areas that were poor and people that were extremely wealthy. I sort of picked on, my belief system was that, hey, I'm going to be, like very rich and I'm not going to have to work for it because that's what I saw. And I sort of all of a sudden went like, oh shit, actually my reality is not this one. I, my parents are not ultra mega super mega wealthy. I gravitated with some of my circles with that, but it's actually not me. So, it's like a reality check, and I'm probably going to have to work and to make things happen. I didn't like it at the start, but then I realized, hey, it's a good thing. It means that I have more growth to do and that I can do it on my own, which is a much better way. And then you have to, start to force yourself to do some things that you don't like. And so one thing is my parents were really kind and they've given me some money, but I wanted to try to not, use and to be responsible, with it. So it's not like I was someone that, how to say, was sleeping under the bridge and, doing phone calls all day to get out of poverty or whatever. I don't want to, make it sound like that, but certainly it was challenging. And having some fair bit of, debt on my credit card and stuff. And my marketing budget was about a couple $100 a month. So I was shy and I had to go in the street to do like, door knocking and speaking to strangers and just stuff that I really hated. But it really helped me to get out of my comfort zone and to start to become more efficient in my language, to try to understand what makes people move. And then in my marketing, even though I had a small budget, I was sometimes, because it was the early days of pay-per-click, for instance, on Google, and I was ranking higher than some guys that had like a whole marketing team because, I had to learn to be smarter. And I realized that all of those things so that I can have more empathy when, the bulk of our clients are people that are doing already pretty well. And especially if they've been with us for a few years, because they tend to stay, they are doing extremely well. But I still enjoy to do events with, and help the people who are not there, because one of my drivers is freedom. And I know that if you are still bound by the material conditioning of our society, you're not going to be able to achieve the best version of who you are and to look at the more important things. And what that means is that I like to help also those guys to be equipped with the foundations in terms of, generating cash flow, being better at sales, marketing, and so on. And I didn't know, I knew how to make it effective. There was some companies where I came in, they were doing a couple million. And by the time I left those business units, they were like over 100 and then way beyond that. But I never knew how to do it when you have breadcrumbs to be able to start with. And I guess this was probably the reason why it happened. And then I just thought, okay, and also to learn maybe to, how to say, like not be too aggressive in how you want to grow, and to keep it within some certain level of balance so that you don't make decisions that it's about listening to yourself. There was a point where I was seeing, this particular company that I was, a partner in, that I was getting the feeling is not what I should be doing, but the numbers look good. And I decided to follow my mind and not my wisdom. And I paid the price for it. I think that's really what the main thing is. And since then, I really made a decision that, what's on paper is nice. The plans are good, that you need to have all these sort of, logical aspects to it and all this, but that at the end of the day, you still also need to learn, to trust some of your instincts sometimes, and to look at like behavior never lies. So don't try to tell yourself story to justify things that they are becoming obvious to you that they are not, going in the right direction. And, the behavior of people tells you much more than whatever words they're going to give to you. And it helped me to be a bit more, discerning of who I surround myself with and who do I associate with in business and stuff like that.
That reminds me of something someone told me when I was traveling. They said, believe everything you see and nothing you hear, which
Exactly.
I kind of like. It's a little bit skeptical or cynical maybe, but actually it proved to be true. Sometimes you hear things and you're wired by something, but then actually you can see that from the behavior, to your point, behavior is telling you something very different. You said some really important things there. When we have challenges or things don't go the way that we want, you framed it in a great way, because one, there's an opportunity for growth. If something's not worked out, then there's something to learn here. There's something to grow from. And number two is, when we're having those challenges, it's an opportunity to do things smarter. And so that very much sounds like it became your competitive advantage, because you didn't necessarily have the funds to, throw into the business in the marketing in the way that you want. You had to find a more efficient, more effective way. And that sounds like it's really yielded for you and your clients over the years. So super powerful. As you think about your leadership over the years, I mean, you're leading a lot of clients and their teams, you're leading, businesses to growth. What do we need to be thinking about from a leadership perspective? How can we be more effective leaders of ourselves and our teams?
The first thing, I guess, is, to understand what is it that people want, right? That's the number one thing. Because if you're able to be skilled at being able to understand what people want, and to be good at being able to elicit the feelings that are going to be productive for them, that's not only going to apply to your team or your suppliers, your stakeholders, whoever it is that you're going to deal with. It's going to help you in every single aspect of your life. And, when you are a good leader, if, people respect how you are treating them and all of that, it's certainly going to, help you with that. Now, I guess the second part to it is that, for me, there's so much that is said and written and, about leadership, and it's like really a very vast topic. But what really I think about is that a lot of it comes down to common sense, right? It's really the ability over the years that you are able to, follow your word, the actions that you say, to be benevolent about helping the people that are, working with or for you, so that they can build a, also want to take ownership of things and be wanting to help you as well. And the rest of it just comes down to your ability to read the room and to increase your, emotional IQ and stuff like that, so that you are able to become an effective communicator and to be able to understand what's happening, so you can calibrate those things quickly and be able to understand what is really going on. Like, as an example, there's a lot of times where people are going to say things, people have different ways that they're going to build the trust, right? Some it's instant, and then some others, they need a lot of data and so on. I'm more of a sort of a long haul kind of person. And basically everyone is going to use different, data points to be able to do that. And for me, it's really going to be about, calibrating, is the behavior congruent with the words, and to start to look at all those things, and then, to go through processing, filter. And basically, I would relate this in terms of leadership, is that basically I'm able to usually hear what people are not saying. Yeah. When you either coaching someone, or when, to really be able to get to the truth behind all of the mask and the appearance that people are giving you. And that's basically, the more you become good at relationships with people, the more that's going to help with your leadership capacity, because you'll be able to straight away understand what is not being said and what, needs to be done in terms of meeting the human needs of those other people, and how they're going to be able to be put in a place where they can best perform, and understand, their personality types and what they can be good at and all of that. But it would be really like a whole, I guess, podcast on its own, because leadership is such a complex thing, just like human beings are. I mean, it is simple as well in some way. And that's why, for me, without having to go into all the theories and so on, I would say that it's really just about use your common sense and, be a human. And that would already get you 80% in the way.
Want to know exactly where your business is leaking profit? Take my free profit scorecard. It's a quick and simple tool that will help you identify hidden gaps and opportunities to maximize your bottom line in just a few minutes. Visit www.profit.gifts and get your personalized results today. Now, back to the show. That's right. And if you don't have common sense, you're stuck.
then you're in big trouble in general, which is a lot of people, I guess, that they seem to have forgotten what common sense means. And I think that is due also to like all the constant bombardment and influence of social media and advertising and all of those things that I think is depleting people of critical thinking and the ability to have common sense. And that's, something that I hope I will contribute to turn around.
Yeah, and I'm sure all the listeners listening here definitely have common sense. They've chosen to take their time out, listen to you and me. So I think they're right on. Hey, and so the key thing in this, then, I really liked what you said. As a leader, follow the words, that you say, with the right actions. You want to be consistent to that, and I think that can really build the trust that you touched on there as well. And you said it's important to have these logical plans, but also to trust your instinct. What's your gut feel on this? And that's so important to listen to that. And we can so easily lose that and get caught up in the logic. I'd love to ask you around the life-changing question. We say the quality of the questions we ask ourselves impacts the quality of the life that we lead. With that being true, what's one question you've asked that's had the biggest positive impact on your life or the life of the clients that you serve?
I've got this kind of mindset of I do a lot of self-reflection and, in general analysis also of things and to be able to make the best decisions and so on. And those come with a lot of questions, right? Actually part of the things that are probably powerful for people is also to be able to ask them the right questions at the right times. So they are able to elicit, better questions, better answers. But more importantly is for me is to change the framework of going in a certain, pre-established conventional, belief system that, is given to you and that is preventing you from seeing all the options that are going to give you much better outcomes in your life. Yeah. So that's why for me, questions are powerful. But what I mean is that there's so many of them that I could not pinpoint just the one thing. There are some that are coming recurring, and I would say they all come different to context. An example, when it comes down to, business, yeah. If I'm in front of, a computer screen, usually there's this big little printed thing that says, is it productive or is it joyful? Yeah. So those questions are here to remind me, am I just doing bullshit right now that is not meaningful to neither me nor others? So I have a visual cue in front of me because I'm a human being and I'm going to be doing some of that like every day. Yeah. I mean, some people maybe are amazing and don't, but I do. So because I'm aware of it, I'm I'm putting some safeguard in front of me that is reminding me, hey, is this a good use of your time now that, when my time comes, I would have regretted that I spent the time doing dribs and drabs or that I've been doing something that, is aligned to my happiness or, to my contribution or to what is providing the results that I want to align to my goals. So that would be two questions that I would see on a daily basis, for instance, right? Another question is every day when I shower, I ask myself, what do I have to be grateful for today? Yeah, so that would be a recurring, consistent question. So even if there's not just one question, there are some questions that I would tend to see, appearing regularly, I guess, in my life. And some of the questions that probably have a similar, even though they're all different, that they would go towards themes that would go along together, like, can you do this better? Or can I, utilize the time in a way that, is going to be, more effective, or like these kind of things that I would be going over, like they're not necessarily regular, but they're probably subconscious questions that are like happening on the background because I'm quite driven by, growth and being able to, be a better version of who I am. Like this morning, for instance, I was doing a training for our clients we do a session called success planning, which is every year. for the end of the year, you have your whole of next year set up. You know exactly, what you're going to do and how and, why, and like you're all inspired, and that increase dramatically your chances to our goals. And when you have the coaching on top to make sure that, it's actually working and so on, that's quite a powerful thing, right? When I do this, there's a whole bunch of questions that I ask myself, about what did I do, in terms of the use of my time this year? What did I do to increase my health? What did I do for my business? Blah, blah, blah. There's like about 35 questions that we go over. And one of the things that I was mentioning there is like, that gives you also the focus, because your questions will decide of your focus. And this year, in a couple of weeks, I'm turning 50, right? So I was like, okay, you know what? My question is like, how can I be in the best shape, and feel great for the rest of my life, so that I surf until the day that I die? And basically, how would I know that this is the truth, So I have basically, a spreadsheet where I have a number of markers, like my body fat, my muscle mass, all of those things. And yeah, and I'm looking that some of those things are, better than a lot of people who are in their 30s, and my metabolic age and all of those things. And so, other than the fact that I've been bald for many years and that I've got wrinkles, a lot of the other parts of my body, doing really well. A few years ago, like, I don't know, in 2017, I had huge issues with my back and I could barely walk, back to a place where I have the health probably of, pretty much an athlete for my age. And I'm really happy with that. And that is also what has sort of helped me to double down on making sure that, yeah, when we're helping, our clients to be successful, that it's not a mono product, like a success trap where you just get caught up on, getting more. The yield of what you get from material things get lesser once you've achieved really big numbers. And you have to be able to utilize it in a way that gives you more leverage in your life than just buying more cars.
I love it. So many powerful, life-changing questions there. I'm going to recap. I'm not sure I caught all of them, but number one, in business, is it productive or is it joyful? Are you doing something meaningful to yourself and others, and are you working on things that are aligned to your goals and things that you want? And number two, what am I grateful for today? I love how you anchor that to something you do every day. Shower. I presume you shower every day. I'm not sure that, but what am I grateful for today? And I love that, you're planning the year ahead. I know we're recording this in October of 2024, and I know it won't be out until January of 2025, maybe in February of 2025. So, but take time. Did you plan your year ahead? If not, ask yourself the question: how can I be a better version of myself? And taking time to plan in advance of what you want, get inspired is going to increase your chances for success. And of course, as we all age, none of us are getting any younger. How can I be in the best shape and feel great for the rest of my life? And I think the important piece that you shared with that, Fabrice, was track that body fat, track the muscle mass, track the metabolic age. Whatever your goals are around your health or your business, the more you track them, the higher the probability is that you're going to have success. You can see if you're on track or off track. You can take the actions that you need to get there and achieve what you want. Fabrice, you shared so much wisdom with us in today's call. There's so many different things that are of value that we can apply as you look forward to 2025 and beyond, as well as being able to keep surfing every day. What do you see in the future? What's in your bucket list? What are you going to be creating in your business?
I guess, there's a lot of the things that I've achieved, and like there was a point where I was actually asking myself, should I just, go and plant some garden and go surfing more? And, is there a point to, all the other things or not? And like, you start to sometimes to have some questions and stuff. And yeah, I've realized that, I'm definitely committed. And some of the things that we worked is like last year, I've started something called the Enlightened Elite Society, where basically I want to put together people who are doing well in their businesses. And there are some such groups, but I want to add another layer to it, which is we've already done, where not only there are people who are successful, but more importantly, they are kind and benevolent people. So, you are surrounded by people that only, not only play a big game and help you to not be the smartest person in the room, which is never a good thing in life, but also, you're going to be able to find like a kind of a second family of people that you have chosen. Yeah. So I'm doing that very, very slowly and organically because I want to have only the right high quality people in there. And I want to be able to, to give that opportunity that I had in my own life to surround myself with people who were more successful than me in different areas. But I had to pay a lot of money sometimes to get those around being me, or to travel, or to have a lot of inconveniences and so on. But it was worth every single minute and dollar of it. So I want to do that, and to be able to put all those people together to create and manifest really big things. When we have those kind of masterminds, that they can get really powerful. So that is one thing. The second is to continue to do live events, including for the smaller businesses, just to give them the foundations like super growth, because I just like to do live events. And, even if they were free, I would probably still do them anyway. And I just enjoy that. And the last part is, to continue to do retreats, which we do, exotic luxury retreats once a year, where people can, start to think about the stuff that, how do we use our, successful business to build wealth, to, keep being healthy, to invest in our, stuff. And I know it might, like I'm a little bit, focused a lot, in the last few years on my health, and not everybody wants to track their body fat and this and that, but you don't need to be an extremist. And I just want to make it clear also that, I don't eat, perfect food every day. When I was young, I was owning nightclubs and I was partying like an animal. I never took drugs, but I was certainly not going to bed before 6 a.m. sometimes. And like, having like throwing huge parties with hundreds of people and stuff like that. But like, you don't have to be perfect, but you just got to be focused and be consistent about doing the right things. There are things that I don't compromise on. For instance, this morning I was saying to, when we were training, like doing with our clients, they were putting the whole schedule together for the year. I said, like, I know that for me, if I don't exercise early in the morning, I'm just going to have so many things happen in the day that is just never going to happen. So I say, if you believe that exercise is something that is important to you, I put it first in the morning, and that's what I do. And if I don't do it every day, I know that it's going to disappear slowly over time. And I also have personal trainers because I pay them money. So I know I'm going to show up, and I know that I'm going to train properly because those guys know. I'm actually a certified fitness trainer. I did it for fun, like, just in my own time. But they know much better than me because they got experience. So the same way that you or I, when we would give, like some questions to business owners that would be more impactful than someone who just comes down from the street. Those guys, they have amazing bodies. So I know that they know what they're doing, and I'm happy to listen to what they say to me. And I know I'm going to give more of myself to the thing. And I have, multiple sessions booked every week, but it was not always like that. But I've always been healthy.
Love it. And it's such a great thing to be able to say that you're like an athlete. Not everyone can. And a lot of the successful business owners I meet, typically they do take very good care of their health. We were talking with Jim Penman in an earlier episode of Jim's Moment franchise, and it's exactly what he said. Every day, without fail, he goes out and does a 30-minute run. That guy is in his 70s now, right? And I think it's a testament. You've got to keep a healthy body, healthy mind. There's a lot of benefits related to that. I love what you have coming in the future. Who wouldn't love to be on exotic luxury retreats and hanging out with people who are enlightened and elite? I think these are some amazing things that we'd all love to have access to. If someone's listening and they wanted to connect with you, or spend more time in and around your community, where's the best place for them to come and find you?
Probably they would go to australiabusinesscoaching.com.au, and they would have a few different options here. We actually rebuilding the website, but by the time they see that, it might be done already. But in general, even if we upgraded it from time to time, there would usually be some area where you can contact us. If you have a business that is already doing good and you want it to do amazing, we would usually have one of my team have a conversation with you to see, like, can we help or not, and which particular areas are the gaps. And if we cannot help, we will always make sure that you walk out with something very valuable, at least to get you on your way. And if you're smaller, there would be some free resources to just, increase your cash flows and, start to market well. And sometimes there are some some of our step-by-step programs from super growth that are, for sale on discount and stuff like that. And the retreat is by invite only. So this is only for our private clients. So that would usually not be advertised on there. And actually, to answer to your question, one of my medium to long-term thing is that I want to build our own holistic success center. So places where people can, come have a lot of fun and relax and enjoy. But at the same time, if they choose to, they can build better habits for their mind, their body, their soul, and get a lot of learning in terms of building wealth, building health, and getting their business to function even better without them at a higher rate and with more profits and returns.
So clear. Wherever you're listening, click into the show notes and there's a link there direct to australiabusinesscoaching.com.au and you can get connected with Fabrice. And just as a recap from today then, the life-changing question, is it productive or is it joyful? If it's not, stop doing it. Go and focus your time on something that's going to help you get you closer to your goals or create something meaningful for you in your life and what you want to accomplish. So Fabrice, thank you so much for your time today. I really appreciated it.
Thank you very much. And thanks for all the listeners. And thanks for yourself for dedicating yourself to be of service to others, in addition to the great work you do doing coaching to, put some resources like that out there. I appreciate your time and thank you very much for having us on the show.
Thanks, Fabrice. Thank you for tuning in to Leading to Profit. If you found value in today's episode, please subscribe and leave a 5-star review. It helps us to reach more leaders like you who are committed to maximizing their positive impact and profitability. Until next time, this is Kevin Bees. And remember, you stop leaking profit when you're engaged in leading to profit.